how most of the wealth is created in the world, and what is the secret sauce of creating wealth. If you understand this, there is a high chance that you will be a small minority of people who will end up creating massive wealth for yourself. But the problem is that there are too many solutions out there. From starting your own business, to trading obscure things, to doing side hustles, to job hopping. And the issue with all of them is that they only work for someone else, never for you. But what if I tell you that there is a sure shot way of creating wealth? Not only that, but most of the wealth that is created in the world is created by this method. And Dave Ramsey has unlocked the secret. He has created more millionaires in his lifetime than any other financial advisor in the history of mankind. I would even argue that he is responsible for the major chunk of wealth created in the last 20 years. What has he discovered? What has made him and a lot of people around him super rich? Why does this strategy work 100% of the time? And how can you use these seemingly simple principles to create massive wealth for yourself? I went deep into the rabbit hole of Dave Ramsey's world and came up with 3 things that can help you do exactly that. So if you want to supercharge your money, watch this video till the end, because tip 3 is the biggest reason why Dave Ramsey is such a smashing success. Starting with number 1, spending versus earnings. The most tried and tested method of creating wealth is by creating money from money. What does that mean? It means you put your money to work, either by investing in a business or in an asset that produces more money for you. But then the question comes, how much money do I need? Most of the people, just like you, think that it takes millions to create true wealth through this route. But you don't need that much. I'll explain why in a minute, but first, think of a scenario where you and your rich friend start the journey of wealth creation. You are earning $100,000 while your friend is earning $1 million a year. Obviously, your friend is in a better financial situation, at least on paper. But what if your expenses are $40,000 a year, which helps you save 50% or more of your income, while your friend spends $1.1 million in a year, putting him in debt to fuel his lifestyle? Who is in a better situation now? Of course, if your income is higher, you can potentially save much more. But more than the income, your expenses will decide whether you will end up wealthy or not. Because every year, numerous people create massive wealth for themselves with seemingly low salaries. The key to wealth is not just the earnings, but also your spending. Here's what Dave Ramsey has to say about it. We are walking through our lives where all the money comes in, all the money goes out. We make tons of money, and we have none, and we can't figure out why. I know why. You gave it all to a financial system that is designed to take it from you. When it comes to creating wealth, a smaller bucket with no holes is better than a big bucket with many holes. So how much money do you really need to create that supposed wealth? That brings me to the second point. 95% of your wealth will come from growth. To dig deeper into creating wealth, first, let's define what is wealth for you. How much money do you think you need to call yourself wealthy? Is it $1 million, 10 million, 100 million? And why do you want to get wealthy? Why not live your life as a regular folk with a bit of savings and a 9-to-5 job? Well, you can come up with your own reasons. For me, wealth is financial security and freedom. Security, because it will keep me and my family protected in case I lose my income, or I find myself in a soup where I require more than usual money. Freedom, because if I have enough money, I don't need to chase clients, jobs, and work to earn a living. I can easily live off my wealth. Money will give me an option to choose who I work with, when I work, and what I work on. So wealth, in my opinion, is money that can give you lifetime security and freedom. Anything more is an excess. A good measure of wealth can be 25 times your yearly expense. So if you have parked your money in a place that gives a yearly return of more than the inflation, for example, in an index fund, then that money can sustain you for at least 35 to 40 years. If you are 40 and have accumulated that kind of money, you are essentially not dependent on external money sources. You can fund your lifestyle for the next 40 or more years. So how much money is it? That depends on your lifestyle, but a typical family's average yearly expense is around $3,000 to $6,000, depending on the number of kids, the city you live in, and other variables. So an amount ranging from $900,000 to $2 million is sufficient for most families in the US. So how much time does it typically take to create a portfolio of $1 million, provided that you are investing in an index fund that gives on average 10 to 11% returns? It takes 27 years with a monthly investment of $500, but it takes only 21 years with a monthly investment of $500, which increases by 10% per year. So this year it is $500 per month, next year it'll be $550 per month, but that's not the interesting part. In the first scenario, you would have only put in 16% of the total money in your portfolio. So 84% of it will be coming from the growth. In the second case, you would have put in 37%. Rest will be growth, but you would have reached your goal much sooner. If you had continued with the second case till year 27, you would have ended up with $2.5 million, with about 71% of the money coming from the growth. Now, here comes the real kicker. If you have invested for 40 years, 96 to 97% of the money you will have will be from growth. You would have put in only about 3 to 4%. That's how you become rich from very little. Basically, time is your closest friend when it comes to creating wealth. Not the money, not the rate of interest, but time. The longer you are invested, regardless of the rate of interest, the more you will end up with. Everything that I have told you here comes from different calls of Dave Ramsey. In fact, it comes from his experience and real-life calls of people who have become multi-millionaires using this method. Here's the secret sauce in a nutshell from Dave Ramsey's playbook. If you do these 5 things, you will win with money 100% of the times. 1. Get on a written plan, a budget to be precise. 2. Get out of debt. Debt is just the opposite of wealth. 3. Live on less than you make. Limit your expenses and save. 4. Save and invest. No one ever became rich by spending all their money. 5. Give generously. This habit makes you attractive to money. But then why do most people who have plenty of money, time, and knowledge still fail to create wealth for themselves? It is because they don't even start. There is no urgency to it. Creating wealth is always secondary to people who have smooth sailing. They are in their comfort zones, and I completely get it. Starting something like this sounds like a mammoth exercise. Taking control of your money, saving, then investing, and doing it for years on the end. Some people might get tired of just listening to all of this. This brings me to the third point: psychology over knowledge. Most of the people get stumbled at the beginning itself, and it is not their fault. Although wealth building through consistent savings is a sure shot and the easiest way, people find it hard to believe. How can it be so easy? There should be a catch. There should definitely be a hidden clause that big companies and rich people are trying to hide from you, right? But the sad reality is that there is none. Consistent investing to build wealth is as boring as promised and as effective as advertised. If you are judicious with your money, use it wisely, save, and invest a bit every month, you will eventually end up rich in a few years at the earliest and a few decades at the latest. But then, why so few people are able to follow through? Let me tell you why. Getting wealthy is 80% psychology and only 20% head knowledge. Getting rich is more about your habits and the way you treat money than any other factor. There is a saying, if you respect someone, they will respect you back. Money follows the same principle. It doesn't take a genius to set aside 10 to 20% of your take-home pay into a different bank account, and then invest it in simple products like low-cost index funds. But many people delay it for tomorrow, which never comes. The most depressing thing is that 90% of the people who are watching this video are not going to start with saving and investing, because it forces them to make a change. And most people need a serious life-altering incident in their life to make a change. But it doesn't have to be this way. Starting is the key. Small steps and small wins add up quickly. Furthermore, if you form good habits when you have less money, it will be much easier to carry it through when you have more. The amount you are saving and investing is not that important. The habit and your way of looking at your money is. Here's what Dave Ramsey has to say about it. You know how rich people get rich? They save money. 100% of the people who don't save money don't have any. You know the problem with most of the people's investments are. It's not the rate of return. It's not the expense ratio. It's not no load versus load. The problem is that most of people don't have any. 100% of the people who build wealth save money. On purpose. A lot. Some people do it poorly, others do it wisely. Each dollar that you are saving right now as a small employee, it is going to go out and earn a little bit of money for you. If it does it enough times, there is no chance that you won't end up with massive wealth. Because this is a tried and tested method used by millions of people around the world. And this is the way most of the wealth in the world is created. But this sensible way may be too slow for a lot of people out there. In this day and age where information is readily available and misinformation is 100 times more prevalent, it is very easy to get influenced by get-rich-quick schemes. The end result is that most of the people who go out to make quick money lose everything. Now, I am not saying that there is no way to grow rich quicker, but there is a right way and there is a wrong way. If you want to take a bit more risk for slightly more returns from your investments with the right strategies, click on the video on the right.